World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Good afternoon. Tony Rogers here, your host for Urbanology, the Art of War. And for those who know me, you know my real name is William Anthony Rogers, so the Art of War. It's kind of a play on words because I write and teach a lot about Sun Tzu, the author of the classic, The Art of War, which is a strategic management book that many people feel is the one that allows for people to have an advantage on others. But nevertheless, you are here today, and which is a great thing because based on some of the weather in New York City, we were beginning to wonder what was going on. It was really bad this time last week. But nevertheless, the sun is out and it's bright. And June, which is my favorite month, for some reason, many of my milestones have taken place in June, including my birthday. But one of the things that has taken place for over 51 years is the skyscraper cycling race that takes place on Father's Day. It has done so for 51 years around Marcus Garvey Park. International racers come from around the world to compete with people from around the corner, actually. That has taken place. Many groups have come in from all over the world, and there are some young men who have been able to ride with them. But nevertheless, that is taking place on the 18th Father's Day. Um, the guest that I have today is part of an organization that is also having an event at Marcus Garvey Park on Friday, the 16th. And it will be an ongoing event that we'll talk a little bit about, as well as an organization that has been very effective in working with young people and allowing for them to understand uh, the nutritional value of farming and growing their own food, which is not always has not always been common in urban areas. Harlem Grown is an organization that has, in and of itself, grown. And I have today a guest who is the director of partnerships for this program, and also the person who is in charge of an installation of the development of the installation that will take place. And we'll talk a little bit about that. It's an art activity. And so please welcome Darel Anderson, the Director of Partners for Harlem Grown. How are you doing, Darel? Your mic is muted. Can't hear you.
Are you hearing me now?
Can hear you now, just like the commercial.
Thank you for having me. How are you today?
I'm fine, Darel. And as I was uh, giving our viewers a little information of Harlem Grown, and I want you to do that. But first, I would like for them to know who you are and some of the things that you have done that have brought you here at this particular point.
Yes. So as you said earlier, I'm from Harlem Grown. I am the Director of Partnerships here at Harlem Grown. Um, I'm also new to Harlem Grown. I've been here a month, but I've been familiar with the organization before that. And before Harlem Grown, I worked at the National Jazz Museum of Harlem, and I was the Director of Operations there. So moving to Harlem Grown, it's just been a real pleasure. I came over just to uh, be a part of the Culture, Creativity, and Care initiative, which is taking place in Marcus Garvey Park.
And we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, could you give the viewers, most know it who are local, but we're talking to people all over the place.
hmm
What is Harlem Grown? And give us a little information as it relates to what it has done over the years.
Okay. So Harlem Grown is an organization that was birthed out of our CEO, Tony Hillary, seen a need for children to learn more about sustainable eating, about being healthy, and what it takes for us to be there. He felt like this was not something that was being taught in schools, especially for our community. So, the mission of Harlem Grown is to inspire youth to lead healthy and ambitious lives through mentorship and hands-on education in her urban farming, sustainability, and nutrition. And we also do a lot of programmings that are centered around wellness. Um, how do we do this? Harlem Grown has 13 farms around the city. Some are in schools, and we have partnerships with a bunch of schools in Harlem as well. And Harlem Grown, there's a program every Saturday on two of our farms. There's just so many things that's being done for the community. I encourage everybody to check out Harlem Grown online. But the main thing is teaching young people, youth, how to be healthy and how to grow your own food and the fun part in growing your own food.
And you have how many gardens throughout the community?
We have so the farms, the total is 13. Um, but those are like split up between schools
Mhm,
and the others. Our main farms is on 130, 134th,
mhm.
and one on 127th. Um,
And kind
and
of give a visual as to what that looks like. It's because people, so that they can understand exactly what we are talking about. Because people say the farming, where what,
well, the
what
main
is
thing
that?
is it's an urban farm, right? So
Uh-huh.
it's not like a farm you're gonna see in like
With
Texas,
tractors and stuff,
and
right?
it's not one of those tractors and stuff. So there's like hydroponics, there's the little pods of vegetables and stuff like that,
And the
and
land is either city or vacant lots or things that have
right,
been
right.
redone and planted, which is, I guess, the point. What uh, has happened with all of these sites, and from my understanding, and you're there, so I'm speaking from someone looking from the outside, not from the inside. What
Mhm.
I've seen is uh, areas that had been eyesores in many cases were transformed into areas that encouraged the entire community in that area to focus on planting and growing things and healthy living. And as it relates to having the young people help clean it out, maintain it, and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
gave a whole different understanding. And by having success from one, now there's 13 of these areas in the urban community
Hmm.
that has taken what might have at one point either been not used property for maybe even the city or an eyesore, you know,
Hmm.
a lot that was a dumping ground, and changed it and transformed it. And in transforming that space, a lot of lives were transformed and
Right.
taking pride in putting together something within their neighborhood that could be helpful to people. So that's how I saw it from the
And
outside.
and and that's how it is, really. I mean, a lot of these lots and a lot of these, I mean, we call them farms, but as I said,
Urban farms,
it's in the city. It's urban farming,
right?
but we've grown like so many types of, like, for example, mushrooms. That's one of the things that I got so happy about when I came here. I was like, oh, all these different mushrooms. But something like that, to say, I got this from a farm in Harlem. And the one of the great things that our organization is also doing is that we give away our vegetables. We give away our produce um, every Wednesday, and at the 127th, and when is the other? I think it's every Saturday at
Mm-hmm.
the 135th. So we're giving it back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that
And
I'm
many of the
very proud of
people
and
who
psyched
live in
about.
the block that the farm is in can benefit also.
Oh yes, for sure. So I mean, it's a great program, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
And I know that you had mentioned it, but you're in about 5 schools that have that as part of their work curriculum for some of the young people to be involved in it, which is a good
Yes.
way to look at things, especially now with our new chancellor and
Mm-hmm.
our mayor who's a vegetarian.
Uh,
You probably, I'm sure Tony has hit the mayor for some support. Well, then
as he
again,
should.
all of the all of the city agencies that are involved, the Parks Department and many of the others, I'm
Hmm.
sure uh, will do that. The mayor is having an event this week around the Juneteenth, and all of the food will be plant based. That's which is going to be interesting
Uh, that will be interesting.
and probably good. I I hadn't planned on going, but when that came out, I said, okay, let me check this out.
Let's try this.
This yeah, but what I'd like to talk about now is, and we didn't really talk a lot about who you are. We
Mhm.
talked about which Tracy, who's the director, has been on the show and is a friend from the National Jazz Museum in Harlem, and many of the people, uh, my friend Lloyd Williams, and a lot of people are there. So
Or
it's a
on the board, yes.
yeah. so so with the chamber, but it's such a good training ground. Yeah, I'm sure to prepare you for some of the things that you're doing now, because
Yes.
you were seeing all types of people, and I know that board. so it speaks again to at least experience, but the program. Talk a little bit about first the program that will take place on the 16th and how that developed, and then the overall program and funding source that Harlem Grown has been able to put together for 2023, and perhaps uh, some funding that is available for 2024 for certain
Hmm.
types of projects. So let's start with one that obviously has been granted funds in order to bring to itself functional art, which is functional architecture, which is something that
Yeah.
I was at City College for a long period of time, and there are a couple of guys who were up there that were very influential in a lot of the stuff that we see around here. But functional architecture was something that was like this urban thing too. If you make
Hmm.
things, try to make them not only beautiful, but how do they, give. So tell us a little bit about that project that's coming up in opening in the sense in Friday, but will be
Right.
at Marcus Garvey Park.
So on the 16th in Marcus Garvey Park, we'll be having our grand opening of our art architectural installation called Sankofa.
Mhm.
Um, and this
That's an African concept.
yes,
We'll
it's
talk about
a
that.
Dinka symbol, Sankofa, which means you need to remember your past to. Let me see
What's
if I
happening?
remember my Dinka. Right,
Yeah,
remember your past to have a good future, or something,
yeah, you have
something
to
to that effect.
understand your past in order to understand and
You
appreciate your
appreciate
future.
your future, right? I was
And
super
now, and where you are.
right,
So it's
right.
a
I
three
was
thing.
when I was younger, I was super interested in all the Adinkra symbols. Thought I knew all of them, but
Ghana.
yeah, our installation, it's called Sankofa, and it was designed by architect Brant A. Hayford is the name of the company. Jerome Hayford is the architect. And it was designed as a kind of an art piece. It will hold 12, 12 art pieces from artists who are from Harlem or connected to Harlem in some way. Um, but these art pieces will be inside of the installation, and we're unveiling that on the 16th, along with some programming that will be going on. We'll have drummers from the Drummers Circle in Marcus Garvey Park, because they're a staple in the park, and so we really,
until some of the neighborhood changed and people started complaining, but that's another story.
they're important to the park. We do not want the drummers to go anywhere. Yeah, the drummers. We'll have some of the drummers as a part of it. We'll have the community will get involved in kind of the design, in that we're leaving there's a section with flower pots, and we're leaving those open for community members to help paint it. We'll have little kites for the kids, and they can do that. So all that will be on the 16th, and that's the first
time.
And that's from 3 to 7, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
We'll also have a panel with the artists, and they'll speak about their inspirations and stuff like that with Sandra Heath from Heath Gallery. So it should be a really cool event, and it's the beginning. It's the kickoff event for the Juneteenth weekend at the park, but also the kickoff event for our for all the performances and projects that are involved in this culture, creativity, and care initiative. And to talk a little bit more about the initiative, the initiative came about from a grant that Harlem Grown received from the Mellon Foundation. And the Mellon Foundation is a big supporter of art and preserving art in communities like Harlem. And so they wanted to center this grant to Marcus Garvey Park. So the installation is just a small part of it. Another big part is we had a request for proposals part, where we had organizations, individuals send us proposals on events they would like to happen in the park, or they would put on in the park. And we issued grants to more than 50% of those people. They were chosen through a selection committee of people who are invested in Harlem and Harlem community. And we're proud to say we had 42 proposals, and we chose 26 to fully fund, and some were partially funded. And all those events will be during the summer. Some may go on till about like October or so, or September of this year. And we also have the second part for 2024, summers for 2024. We're still accepting proposals for that part of the park.
What's the criteria for the applications? What type of program, what type of organization is basically looked at?
Okay, so for the first part of this 2023, we had two sections of the proposal. There was one for visual arts, and then there was another for events / performances. And so the visual arts section, that one is closed, but that one was just for people who want to display their artwork in the installation.
Right.
And so we're choosing 24 people from that, and 12 pieces of artwork each. So one set should be going up before the end of this. I think it's in October. It's the next installation of artworks, and then the other sometime next year. And then the other section for the events performances, we left that to be very broad. It had to cover wellness, educate people in some way, any art performances and that.
Mhm.
So we had a plethora of proposals for that. We have people teaching dance. We have story time where people are reading to kids.
Mhm.
So we have opera.
Mhm.
It's just a diverse set of performances, and that's how we wanted it. Um, and it's we didn't where there's no specific organization or type that can
Mhm.
qualify.
Mhm. Mhm.
um, we've given grants to big known organizations, and we've had grants for like a one individual who is, say, a poet or a singer.
Mhm.
So we're not restricting the proposals that we get. We're trying to be sure that we reach as much and as diverse a set of programming that we
The
can.
quality versus the quantity of the.
Yes. Yeah.
Huh? And again, if people are interested in getting more information about this particular process or Harlem Grown in particular, they can go to the Harlem Grown website.
Yes. Or if you for Harlem, you can go to harlemgrown.org.
Hmm.
If you're specifically interested in being a part of the Culture, Creativity, and Care initiative, if you want to apply, like put in your proposals, you can go to harlemgrown.com. There's a tab for just CCCI, or Culture, Creativity, and Care
Say that
initiative.
again slower.
Culture, Creativity, and Care initiative, or CCCI.
Okay.
And you'll see that tab. And that tab has all the information about the project. With the 2-year project, it has a section where you can um, enter your proposals, and we'll accept any idea. If you think about it and you think you can do it, the only requirement for these is that it's in the park. It's in Marcus Garvey Park,
Hmm.
and that it will help
Educate or help
uplift,
somebody.
educate the community in some way.
Hmm. Or help in some way.
Yeah, help in some way, right?
Well, that's interesting. Now, are you guys doing anything on the 17th? Because there's a whole lot of things going on in Marcus Garvey Park.
Not us specifically. I think Marcus Garvey Park Community, MMPCIA, what is it?
Community improvement.
Improvement Association. Yeah, I think they're having an event on the 17th.
Mhm.
Um, we Ours is on the 16th as the first event, and then I think it's the bike.
On the on the
On the
18th.
18th it's a bike run, but on the 17th I'm not sure, but it's not us. But we may be there, but it's not our event.
Yeah, but there is, I do know, and I was trying to fish for the name because I couldn't think of it, but I'm pretty sure it's the Montmartre Park Improvement Group that's also
Yes.
having an event there. So Marcus Garvey Park will be the place to be um,
This whole summer.
this whole summer. As I said,
Yes.
I used to live down the block, and sometimes whether you can't get between what was happening in Marcus Garvey Park, because of course you have the opera, you have all kinds
Mhm.
of jazzmobile and a number of other things that take place
Yes.
there. And which I'm a part of, and people remind me, my neighbors, you're you're a part of this. Why don't this happen? Why don't that happen? So
Exactly.
I've tried to work with that by including them as much as possible in the different types of things that are going on. That's, I guess, the success of doing anything in any community to make sure that you include those who are from that community so that they can become your ambassadors and
Hmm.
allow for you to understand some of the things that you might not coming from someplace else. uh,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some groups have not reached that understanding as of yet and tend to wonder why some of the things that they do not always work as well as they would want it
Yeah.
to. And but again, the See You Grow program is one that is really important now because they're do when the whole COVID pandemic came about, people started to, especially people of color, and or in urban areas, because people of color in the urban areas. But if you are in the urban area, no matter who you are, you're going to go through some of the same trials and tribulations.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those was the understanding of uh, how how things work as relates to this. I was just had someone. I'm getting. Uh, there's a lot of comments as it relates to this, but yeah, I saw something about homeless, and
Mm-hmm.
that's that's just something that happens. But what I've also understood is that, again, when you work with the community, there are many things that come about that allow for you to be able to overcome some of the things that happen when you don't work. We were just talking about
Yeah.
the same thing. There are ways that you can deal with some of those things. However, this, as I was saying, June, not only for Marcus Garvey Park, but June is the start of, I believe, the first real coming out as relates to the 2 year pandemic concerns and the anxiety people had.
Yeah.
Last year was kind of like putting your toe in the water to see, was it okay? But people didn't really dive into it as they have been in the
Yes.
past. But
Mm.
I think this year uh, people feel a lot more comfortable as long as they can breathe.
Yeah. I mean, and the good thing is it's stuff in the park. It's a little, people are a little more okay with going into open areas, even if, they're still wary about getting infected or COVID. But open areas, people are generally a little more okay with that.
So, what are some of the long-term goals you're looking at as relates to what you're doing? What are some of the things that you would like to happen or manifest? Once you think about them, you can bring them to be. So, the
I
rest of this year, and let's say 2024 and beyond. So, what are
I hope for it's two part answer. For for the project I'm working on now, the CCCI project, I hope that we can get a lot more locals applying for proposals, because I've worked in Harlem for quite a while, and I feel there's so much art and talent in Harlem. So I do hope that we do get some more proposals.
tap into
A
some
lot of
of the
people, yeah, a lot of people think that they probably won't get it, and they won't, they won't apply. But I do think that everyone, if you think that you can do anything for the park,
that's the
come in.
way that's the way life is. You have to have faith in yourself, and others
Right.
will have faith in you because
Hmm.
you exhibit that. And doing things in which you're doing,
Hmm.
you're here, and and many people will know who you are, and your personality and energy kind of comes out that uh,
Hmm.
you are a fair person and will look at things from a perspective. Where did you
Yes,
grow up?
I am Jamaican. I grew up in Jamaica, actually.
Grew up in
Um,
Jamaica.
yes, born
Okay.
and bred.
What part of Jamaica?
Two parts. Originally Clarendon, and then moved to Kingston for high school.
Okay.
Hmm.
Kingston girl.
So, yeah,
So
I
that's where you
came
learned your
to.
manners. So
I know, right? So yeah, I came to the US in like 2002. So I've been here for quite a while, but
Uh-huh.
Jamaican through and through. You hear it?
Well, I mean, you some of it is gone for whatever the reasons are, but yeah, you can kind of get that feeling, and
Usually
it's
with
funny
certain,
because it's either a Jamaican, especially Jamaican, for some reason, a Southern type of personality tends to merge. I guess because we all were slaves, but
exactly.
when I talk about manners, it's a mannerism more so than manners that allows
Mhm.
for people to uh, see something within who you are, and in order to have that type of energy, it's important to know who you are.
Yes, yeah,
Once you kind of know who you are and have been put into a situation to allow for you to be comfortable as to who you are, it comes out in how you deal with people, uh,
yeah,
and that's very noticeable in you. Uh,
yeah. Thank you.
there's a saying: if you can't love anyone unless you love yourself,
So true.
and a lot of times, also energy attracts each other. So, a personality like yours seemed that it would fit in an organization that has used growth, the seeds of planting seeds and allowing for those seeds to grow
Yeah,
into many different things. And who would have thought when Tony was doing the first project in the school and was getting volunteers that at one
mhm.
point we will be talking about developing grants for people to build installations in the park.
Yeah. I don't. I think Tony, not even Tony thought that this would be how huge it is, but it's just such a pleasure. It's so great to like work for an organization that's doing something like this. You know, you feel like you're making changes,
Well,
and that's great.
there's a saying. I was a philosophy major, and I guess that will be what I am for the rest of my life. But life. There deposits of withdrawals in the bank of life, in a sense, and the more deposits that you make is the more your collateral as far as things in life are.
Mm,
Unfortunately, some people make too many withdrawals and become bankrupt, and that creates another side of life that sometimes is not always as pleasant or less stressful.
yeah.
But the way the energy goes is that if you do a lot for a lot of people, things you start attracting certain types of energy. Birds
Mhm.
of a feather, they do flock together, and
Yes.
there's a certain type of chemistry. And as I have mentioned with See You Grow, it's just something that has allowed for a lot of people to feel good about themselves and where they are. And I think that of all of the things that have taken place, that has been one for to really look at. Before we start to close out, what is there a deadline time frame for people to submit proposals for 2024?
2024 proposals are due in October. I
Due in October
well, I
or
mean the last
oh,
to
because
enter is in
you're
October.
receiving them now, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
we're receiving now, and I'm trying to find the actual date, but I'm not too because I'm not too sure what the exact date is.
But when you go to harlemgrown.org and you go into that process, I'm sure that that information will be there.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it should. Oh, October 1st.
Okay.
October 1st is the last that you can put in your proposals. But we're also accepting for people who would like to be a part of the selection committee. So you can also go in for that. If you would like to be a part of the group that chooses
Choosing the
who
people who, right.
gets the grants, you can also do that. It's in the
And is
same
there a
place.
criteria for that?
We're looking for people who have or invested in the community of
In the
Harlem.
community, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not just anyone. For the selection committee, people who are invested and want the betterment of Harlem.
All right. That's fair, and based on what they're doing, it would help to know that they have had some experience
Mhm.
in revitalization efforts of Harlem. Well, are there any shout outs that you might want to give as relates to some of the programs that are being awarded? Let us know what may be coming.
Well, we haven't fully announced the people who have gotten awards yet, but I
Nice.
will say that it is, I mean, the people who are getting awards already know, but we're waiting.
For a
But we'll
special.
say it will be especially diverse. You'll have everything from dancing or for kids and people teaching everything. So, I mean, we'll put out an actual announcement soon, but
Now, now, will some of these programs also be in the Pella Fritz location, or all of the information, all of the different awardees, will their programs be in the installation that's going up?
no, there's some will be in or around the installation. Others will be in the amphitheater or maybe other parts of the park. It just the only
Mm-hmm.
requirement was that they were in Marcus Garvey Park.
In the fund. So the
Yeah, a
Pella
lot of
Fritz,
people want to do it by the installation. So
right,
that's a possibility. I
right.
mean, yeah,
And the
let's just
amphitheater obviously is one that, for entertainment or dance or things like that.
right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And for
Yeah,
those who may not know about Marcus Garvey, but if you come between the 16th and 18th, you'll be able to see all of these things. The Pelham
yeah.
Fritz Center has been redesigned, so it's a dance studio there and a number of other things that uh, were in the process while I was there for many years. But I'm glad to see that, and that's part of the Parks Department, which I'm sure is a major contributor to a lot of the things that you're doing.
Yes,
So,
they were a great partner in helping us with everything. The Parks Department, Marcus Garvey Park Alliance, Mount Morris Park Community Improvement
improvements. Mhm.
Association. They're a mouthful. Yes,
Yeah,
they were very, very helpful in us like designing this whole process. So
mhm.
yeah, I do appreciate them.
Yeah. Well, it was a community effort, which is always important. Well, again, we've been talking to Darel Anderson, the director of partners for Harlem Grown, an organization that has done a lot of things, a lot of positive things as it relates to nutrition and education for young people in the Harlem community, and now has expanded into some other things that will entertain and educate individuals from the community and I'm sure
Mhm.
beyond at Marcus Garvey Park over the summer. If
Yes,
you are able to come through on the 16th between 3 and 7, I believe,
yes,
to see some of the programming that will take place. And we'll talk. The Harlem Tourism Board has a website, goharlem.org, and we're in the process of putting as much information about the things that take place in Harlem there so it can become somewhat of a hub that will allow for the many different organizations that are doing things to be kind of like a mall effect, where you
uh,
go into this place and you can see all of the different things and the traffic of just going into it will allow many of the organizations to get traffic that perhaps they might not get just based on being on your phone and doing the
Yeah.
things we do. That's where a lot of that goes. So we would like to
Wonderful.
put some content. And so we'll talk about that as far as what you're doing and
Yes.
the different programs that are taking place to put on the site. And of course, if we can ever do anything, if there's something special, let us know. Whether
Of
it's,
course.
and you guys should be members of the Harlem Tourism Board. So I'll make sure that we get some stuff out to you so we can help promote even more so some of the things that are taking place because they're all tourism related.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
that's the important thing. And what we're looking to do is to build and strengthen the Harlem tourism and hospitality industry
Hmm.
because it's a lot going on. We just have to in
Yeah.
some way pull it together, and hopefully GoHarlem.org will serve that purpose. But we will talk, and I look forward
Thank
to seeing
you.
you on the 16th. And my regards to Tony and the crew from Harlem Grown. They've done a lot of work over the years, and um, I'm sure that there's a lot more to come, especially now that they have you. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Look out. We're gonna have so many things going on in the next few years. But thank you so much for having me, Tony. It's
Okay,
been a pleasure.
and again, this show for those who are coming in late will be on the Harlem Tourism Board Facebook page and the Soul City YouTube and a number of other sources, so people can see it. And I'm sure Matt will probably be able to send you a link
Oh, thank
if
you.
you want to have people see how good a job that you were able to do.
I know, right? I was so nervous too.
Well, the host has to take a little credit for.
Right. No, no, you really do though. Great at making someone feel comfortable.
Well, it's energy. Everything is about energy, as I was
Hmm.
saying before. So and it comes through because all of this is energy, even the information technology and AI. It's all understanding energy, which is most important. But thank you for your time. Look
Thank you
forward to
for having
seeing
me.
you. And I also would like to thank Soul City for giving this platform. And for those who I may not see until next week, I might not. Uh, I don't know. My birthday is on the 19th. I'm a Juneteenth baby, so
Awesome.
so I'm sure I'll be celebrating. So I have to talk with Matt. Let's see what's going to happen. I'm no telling where I'll be next Tuesday. But nevertheless, thank you so much again, and
Thank you.
look forward to talking to you. And I wish you all of the best with the project and the other projects that's coming about. And if again you're interested, if you think that there may be something that works for you, please give Darel and her people a look see, and you can go
Mhm.
to the Holland Grown website in order to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, and of course, thank you, Matt McCoy, for providing the platform in order to bring to people programs like Column Grown that uh, work with so many young people. And it's unfortunate sometimes where when you look at the media, people become frightened of their younger uh, generation, and that should not be. And one of the things that I believe is a blessing to have a Soul City and programs like this is to talk about the many good things, the many great uh, experiences that young people can have in an urban area. Harlem Grown is a good example of that. So thank you again. Thank you again. Happy Juneteenth. Um, It's great to have a holiday on your birthday, but again, I guess that was all in the master plan. So I'll see you next week, God willing, and enjoy your Juneteenth holiday. Take care. Bye.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York. This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on